Tips a pass up to Bergeron. Marchand going to the goal. And that pass intended for Mark.
Donnie Gomez in the ring. Yager again. Walking. Shooting one wide of Brodeur. Played this way by Gomez.
Anton Bleed shoots it in. Tom Wilson comes in.
Mandatory helmet use, 1979. Before helmets became mandatory, players were divided on their necessity. While some, like Craig McTavish, resisted wearing them, others embraced the protection. McTavish famously played without a helmet until his retirement in 1997, with players like Bill Cowboy Flett also choosing to forego the gear early in their careers. The lack of helmets remained controversial despite mounting evidence of the risks of head injuries. The death of Bill Masterton in 1968 from a head injury brought the issue into focus, yet it took years for the NHL to mandate helmets. Veterans such as McTavish were grandfathered in, allowing them to continue playing without helmets if they signed a waiver. In 1979, the NHL mandated helmets for all new players. Veterans were allowed to opt out, provided they signed a waiver, and McTavish was the last to play without one, retiring in 1997. The rule marked a significant shift in player safety, with helmets becoming a crucial part of modern hockey. The decision reflected the growing recognition of head injury risks and was influenced by tragic events like Masterton's death, which pushed the league to make player protection a priority. Maximum blade curvature, 1970. Bobby Hull, one of the most powerful shooters in NHL history, revolutionized the game with a slap shot. Along with Stan Mikita, he popularized the use of highly curved stick blades. These blades allowed for a greater shooting flexibility, making pucks harder to predict and giving shooters like Hull a major advantage. Their shots were fast, erratic, and nearly impossible for goalies to read, making goaltending significantly more difficult. As Hull and Mikita experimented with increasingly curved blades, their shots became even more unpredictable. The curvature caused pucks to change direction mid-flight, resulting in shots that caught goalies off guard. This made scoring easier, but raised concerns over goalie safety and the fairness of the game, as the blades allowed for more spin, causing erratic puck behavior. In 1970, the NHL introduced a rule limiting blade curvature to 1.5 inches, preventing the extreme curves popularized by Hull and Mikita. The rule aimed to reduce the unpredictability of shots and eliminate the unfair advantage given to the shooters with curved blades. This rule change was a direct response to Hull and Mikita's innovations. While it limited creativity in stick design, it made the game safer for goalies and more balanced overall. Their use of curved sticks not only changed how players shot the puck, but also led to one of the most significant equipment-related rule changes in NHL history. Penalty shot for throwing a stick, 1970s. Bobby Clarke, the legendary captain of the Philadelphia Flyers, was known for his gritty, aggressive style of play. Along with others, Clarke discovered that throwing a stick could disrupt an opponent's scoring chance. This tactic, though effective, was controversial. Clarke's skill at using this strategy made it infamous, but he wasn't the only one to employ it. As more players began throwing their sticks to prevent goals, the NHL recognized the need to address this tactic. While effective, it undermined fair play and disrupted the game. There were no immediate consequences, allowing players to stop scoring chances without punishment. The league needed a rule to eliminate this behavior. In response, the NHL implemented a rule in the 1970s that awarded a penalty shot to the team whose opponent threw a stick to interfere with a scoring opportunity. This change was designed to discourage the tactic by increasing the stakes for the offending team. Although Clarke was a notable example, he wasn't the only player using this tactic. The rule change forced players to adopt more legitimate defensive methods, making stick throwing no longer an easy way to prevent goals. It also reinforced the NHL's commitment to maintaining the integrity of the game and preventing unfair advantages. Goalie equipment restrictions, various years. Ken Dryden, one of the greatest goaltenders in NHL history, was known for his calm demeanor, incredible reflexes, and towering presence in the crease. His large, bulky pads, especially in the 1970s, were part of a trend where goaltenders used oversized equipment to cover more of the net. While designed for protection and performance, Dryden's gear contributed to concerns that goalies were becoming too dominant. As goalies like Dryden began wearing larger pads and protective gear, they started taking up nearly the entire goal, making it harder for shooters to score. This shift led to a rise in low-scoring games. The NHL recognized that oversized gear was altering the balance between offense and defense, creating a need for change. In response, the NHL introduced equipment size restrictions over several years, targeting goalie pads, gloves, and overall gear. The size of goaltender pads was reduced to ensure goalies couldn't completely fill the crease with their equipment. These changes aimed to restore balance and make the game more offensive. While Dryden and other goalies influenced a trend toward larger equipment, the rule change marked a turning point for goaltending. It emphasized skill, positioning, and reflexes over sheer size, helping to balance the game by encouraging more scoring while still allowing for elite goaltending. Dryden's impact on the evolution of goalie equipment remains a defining part of the NHL's history. Bench minor for too many men, 1977. Darryl Sittler, a legendary forward for the Toronto Maple Leafs, was known for his offensive talent. In 1977, during a game, the Leafs had too many players on the ice, yet still managed to score a goal. This illegal play would lead to lasting changes in NHL rule enforcement. At the time, too many men on the ice rule was not strictly enforced, and teams often got away with having extra players on the ice. Sittler's goal, scored under these circumstances, raised questions about fairness, as the violation went unpunished, giving the Leafs an unfair advantage and highlighting the need for stricter rule enforcement. Following the incident, the NHL instituted a bench minor penalty for teams caught with more than 6 players on the ice. This adjustment ensured that teams would be penalized for too many men infractions, with the offending team forced to play shorthanded. The rule change clarified the consequences of the violation and made enforcement stricter. Sittler's incident was a turning point for the enforcement of the too many men penalty, ensuring teams couldn't gain an unfair advantage. The rule change reinforced the importance of proper line changes and discipline, leading to a more structured and fair game. The penalty remained strictly enforced, playing a key role in game management and strategy. Rule 48, Prohibition of Hits to the Head, 2010. Scott Stevens, known for his devastating open ice hits, became infamous for his perfectly timed checks that often targeted the head. His brutal hits on players like Eric Lindros and Paul Kariya epitomized the physical, no-holds-barred style that defined the New Jersey Devils defense. While effective, these hits raised concerns about player safety and the long-term health consequences of head injuries. Stevens' physical style, though legal at the time, sparked significant criticism due to the risk of concussions. Players like Lindros, who sustained multiple head injuries from Stevens' hits, became symbols of the dangers of head trauma. The growing awareness of these risks, coupled with increasing concerns about player safety, pushed the NHL to address the rising frequency of headshots. In 2010, the NHL introduced Rule 48, prohibiting hits to the head. This rule made it illegal for players to deliver checks targeting the head from any direction, front, side, or blind side, and established specific penalties, including suspensions for such actions. While Stevens' hits were a key factor in bringing attention to the issue, the rule was part of a broader shift towards safer play and heightened awareness of concussion-related injuries. Stevens' legacy as a physical force contributed to the eventual crackdown on headshots, but it was the rising concern about concussions and player health that ultimately drove the rule change. Rule 48 became a cornerstone in the NHL's efforts to improve player safety, marking a significant shift away from the aggressive, physical style of the past in favor of prioritizing player health. Goaltender Restricted Area, 2005, aka Brodeur Rule. Marty Brodeur, one of the NHL's greatest goaltenders, was not only known for his exceptional shot-stopping ability, but also for his pioneering puck-handling skills. Brodeur often played the puck far outside his crease, acting as a third defenseman to neutralize forecheckers and even contribute to offensive plays. This ability gave the New Jersey Devils a distinct advantage, making it harder for opponents to forecheck and create scoring chances. Brodeur's ability to handle the puck from behind the net created a competitive imbalance. His active participation in breaking out of the zone and controlling the play made it increasingly difficult for opposing teams to apply pressure. Other goalies began adopting similar strategies, and the NHL recognized the need to address the growing trend. In 2005, the NHL introduced the Trapezoid Rule, officially the Goaltender Restricted Area Rule, limiting goalies to a trapezoidal area behind the net within the goal line. The rule restricted goalies from venturing too far outside their crease, thus reducing their ability to assist in zone exits and neutralize forechecking pressure. This change was aimed at encouraging more offensive play and improving the effectiveness of forechecking. The Trapezoid Rule altered the role of goalies, reducing their involvement in puck handling and transforming them back into more traditional shot stoppers. While Brodeur remained skilled in clearing pucks, the rule limited his ability to control the game from behind the net. The shift also influenced team strategies, increasing forechecking and offensive opportunities for opponents. Ultimately, the rule was a direct response to Brodeur's influence, reshaping the goaltender's role and encouraging more balanced play. Unsportsmanlike Conduct, 2008. Sean Avery, known for his ability to agitate opponents, became infamous for his antics in front of goalies. During the 2008 playoffs, Avery took this to a new level by standing directly in front of Marty Brodeur and waving his stick in hands in an attempt to distract him. While this was technically within the rules at the time, it was widely seen as disrespectful and unsportsmanlike. Avery's actions sparked outrage, particularly from goalies and fans who felt it crossed the line between competitive play and unsportsmanlike conduct. This incident raised questions about the limits of distraction tactics in front of goalies and whether such behavior should be tolerated. In response, the NHL introduced the Avery Rule in 2008, which prohibited players from using excessive gestures to distract goalies. The rule specifically penalized any player who interfered with a goalie's ability to focus or play the puck aggressively, such as waving a stick in their face. This rule was codified shortly after the playoffs to prevent such behavior moving forward. The Avery Rule marked a significant shift in the NHL's approach to unsportsmanlike conduct. It emphasized protecting goalies from distractions and preserving the integrity of the position. The rule set a precedent for further crackdowns on similar unsportsmanlike tactics, ensuring the game remained competitive while maintaining respect for all players involved. Dale Hunter was one of the NHL's most notorious bad boys, known for his physical, gritty play and his willingness to engage in borderline, often vicious behavior. While a highly skilled forward, Hunter's reputation was built on his aggressive tactics, particularly his infamous hit on Pierre Turgeon in the 1993 playoffs. After Turgeon scored a goal, Hunter delivered a cheap shot to Turgeon's head while he was celebrating, causing a serious shoulder injury. The hit sparked outrage across the league, violating the unwritten code of sportsmanship. Hunter's history of similar incidents led to a reevaluation of how the league should address unsportsmanlike conduct. In response, the NHL introduced stricter penalties for hits after the whistle and harsher punishments for violent retaliation. The rule, known as the Hunter Rule, specifically targeted violent hits aimed at players who were already vulnerable, such as those who had just scored a goal. It ensured that players who engaged in such actions would face more severe consequences, including suspensions. The Hunter Rule marked a turning point in how the NHL addressed post-whistle retaliation and player safety. The rule set a precedent for harsher penalties for violent actions designed to injure or provoke opponents, signaling the end of unchecked retaliatory violence in the league. While physical play remains a part of hockey, the rule change emphasized the importance of maintaining respect and sportsmanship on the ice. Tom Wilson is known for his aggressive and physical style of play, earning a reputation as one of the NHL's most controversial players. His size, speed, and willingness to deliver punishing hits made him a key enforcer for the Washington Capitals. However, his frequent dangerous hits, particularly on vulnerable players, raised serious concerns about player safety, with many viewing his actions as reckless. Wilson's tendency to deliver late hits, including dangerous hits to the head and from behind, sparked concerns over head injuries and safety. Hits like the one on Brandon Carlo in 2021 led to significant injuries and multiple suspensions. His actions prompted the NHL to reevaluate how to handle such violent play, especially hits targeting the head or neck. In response to Wilson's repeated offenses, the NHL implemented stricter enforcement of rules regarding hits to the head and boarding. The Wilson Rule emerged, focusing on heavier suspensions for players who repeatedly engage in dangerous hits, particularly those aimed at the head. This shift emphasized player safety, putting the responsibility on players like Wilson to clean up their play or face harsher consequences. The Wilson Rule has had a lasting effect on how players approach physical play, particularly concerning headshots and blindside hits. While physicality remains central to the NHL's identity, the rule set a clear boundary between aggressive play and recklessness. It also led to increased attention on concussion protocols and player safety, laying the foundation for further changes in how the league manages violent play. As we've seen, the players who forced the NHL to change its rules weren't just talented. They were game changers who left a mark on the sport that transcended the ice. Whether it was a player's unstoppable skill or their ability to provoke and push boundaries, each of these rule makers reshaped the game in their own way. The question is, who will be next? As the game continues to evolve, new talents will inevitably rise, and with them, new challenges for the league. But for now, these legends remain etched in history, not just for what they did on the ice, but for how they forever changed the way the game is played.